Hello, everyone. I'm your cruise director, Kristin, and welcome to Jungle Gyms Part 2, where we'll be visiting the second location of this amazing store and talking about what the building was before it became what it is today. This skylight almost looks like a mall skylight, doesn't it? It seems out of place above the pet section. For those of you who don't already know, this building began its life as Bigg's Place Mall in 1984, and you can see from the photo here from after Bigg's closure that it once was the mall's corridor. This was the largest skylight in the mall, which once was in front of the main entrance to Bigg's. It's right inside the main entrance to Jungle Gyms, above the sushi counter. The neon sign you see here is another Cincinnati Mall relic. It decorated the entrance to the food court at Kenwood Town Center from 1992 to 2007, when the mall was redecorated to a more neutral, bland. Okay, Kristin, be diplomatic. We're going to go with neutral. It adopted a more neutral and understated decor that's very bland. Moving on. I wonder what it says about me that I've started our tour in the wine section at both locations. It's impressive though, isn't it? This bar you see off to the left is packed on a normal weekend, but since this was on a weekday evening during a pandemic, you get a nice view of it. This cheese section is dizzying in its selection, organized by country like most other things in this store. They do a lot of samples, which is a huge help because otherwise you'd have no idea what to get first. It's definitely a measure of scale as to how large this store is that the entire building was gutted and reconfigured to house Jungle Gyms, inline spaces, corridors, and all, when Bigg's was, as the name implies, quite large in its own right. 200,000 square feet with another 200,000 square feet of mall retailers. A lot of people don't remember this, but until the beginning of this century, Bigg's Place was a full-fledged mall with food court, bargain theater, and about 20 inline tenant spaces. It always played second fiddle to EASTGATE Mall 2 miles away, but they coexisted for nearly 2 decades, even after part of the sign had burned out for a few months when I was a kid and it welcomed you to Big Lace Mall. Bigg's was the product of a joint venture between 3 French firms and Super Value to bring the already popular in Europe hypermarket concept to the US at a time when few other retailers like Walmart and Kmart were doing their own pilots of similar strategies. When Bigg's opened in 1984, a typical grocery store was 30 to 50,000 square feet and sold a much narrower selection of merchandise than you'd find today. The unveiling of a store that sold TVs, clothes, garden supplies, hardware, and groceries was unusual and very, very new. Their prices were among the best in town, too. By 1994, SuperValue had bought out their French partners and become sole owners of the chain, which had grown to 16 locations, most of which were in the Cincinnati area, but reached as far as Louisville, Kentucky, and Colorado via a partnership to anchor the ill-fated American malls built by the Australian firm L.J. Hooker. That name sound familiar? Does the name Forest Fair Mall ring a bell? Of course it does. You're watching this channel. Based on feedback from the last video, I wanted to make sure I covered one of the features of both this and the Fairfield location of Jungle Gyms. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you the winner of the 2007 Best Restroom in America, these Porta-Johns. Okay, for the people who've never been here, you're in for a surprise. Let's investigate. I'm going in. And as you can see, it's a standard size and actually very nice restroom behind that plastic door. Talks for a second location of Jungle Gyms began in 2007, and it was originally planned for a different site that was much closer to the city in the Oakley neighborhood north of downtown Cincinnati. Plans fell through, and the project was pushed aside following the 2008 financial crisis. Meanwhile, Bigg's had fallen on hard times, in large part due to increased competition from places like Meijer and Walmart Supercenter. There is literally a Walmart Supercenter across the street from this place, and while it's not hurting Jungle Gyms, it hurt Bigg's a lot. And Meijer was less than 5 minutes away, and that didn't help either. One thing I feel like the Eastgate location has an advantage over Fairfield on is the selection of refrigerated and frozen international items, which I don't think Fairfield quite has enough room for. By 2010, Bigg's made the decision to sell 6 of their 11 locations to Remke Markets and close the other 5. Bigg's closed in Eastgate in June 2010 and was almost immediately chosen as the site for the second location of Jungle Gyms. The building was completely reconfigured, leaving only the few skylights as remnants of its former self, and the second location of Jungle Gyms opened on September 25, 2012. You thought the hot sauce selection at Fairfield was big. To give you an idea of size, the hot sauce section here is about the size of a convenience store. From this point down to the corner on the right, it's all craft sodas and glass bottles. This plane, like me, is powered by hot sauce. That raisin scoop is almost as tall as I am. I'm so sorry, I've got a text coming in. It's a sign of the times. Even the best grocery store in the world couldn't keep toilet paper in stock a few weeks ago when I shot this. However, I'm happy to report that they have some as of yesterday. The display above this old carnival ride is all honey on all four sides. The opening of Jungle Gyms in Union Township has been a huge economic boon to the area and is a bona fide tourist attraction. The strip mall across the street from here sat mostly empty for many years, but now it's full and thriving. A lot of new restaurants have opened up, and all of that means jobs and tax revenue so that new schools and other improvements can be built. On a selfish note, this location means I can do my weekly shopping here anytime I want. Thank you for watching. We're coming up on 2,000 subscribers, and by the time you watch this, we might be there. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for every single one of you who has watched, commented, and subscribed to our channel. A very special thank you to Phil Crawford and our other patrons for helping make this and future episodes possible. If you'd like to become a patron, please see the link in the description. As always, I'm Kristin, my co-pilot and toilet paper inventory specialist is Ron, and we are UniComm Productions. We'll see you next time.